Hello children, welcome to your English class. Today we are about to discuss a new lesson, a short monsoon diary. The present piece of lesson is in fact collection of a few extracts from Ruskin Bond's personal diary. Ruskin Bond has described the wonderful miracles of nature and life's little simple joys and sorrows in the form of his own feelings in his diary. So the present piece of lesson, a short monsoon diary, is all about the beautiful, vivid description of monsoon season as experienced by Ruskin Bond when he stayed in Mysore. It was 24th of June. Ruskin Bond was staying in his friend's house in a village near Mysore. The atmosphere was jubilant, cheerful. Trees were ringing with bird songs. There were so many birds, and he could hear the tweeting, the twitter of birds on each and every tree. But all of a sudden, on 24th June, there came a monsoon mist. It is the beginning of monsoon season. A smog means a smoke like moisture, a layer of moisture covered all over the hill station where Ruskin Bond was staying. And he noticed, strangely enough, all the birds which were so naughty and which were so noisy until then, once that mist covered the hilly region, they all became silent. Then Ruskin Bond understood what people usually call the mist is so melancholy. Melancholy means very sad. Now we understood why people call the mist so melancholy. Why? It not only hides the mountains and the forest with its layer of moisture, but it also silences the total environment. Now, after the mist spread all over that hill station, he notices some sort of deadly silence that really made people feel sad. So on 24th June, they had mist all over their village, the hilly region. And the next day, that is on June 25th, they had the very genuine, the first and fresh early monsoon rain. It was warm and humid. Weather was very warm and full of water vapor in the air. It was not that cold and high altitude rains that they have been uh, having all the other seasons of the year. The plants appeared that even they too know that it was the first early monsoon rain, because when the writer Ruskin Bond, when he went to the bank and post office, on the way he found somewhere the first cobra lily grows its head from the fern. You can see in the picture the cobra lily. It's a fern, means a flowerless plant with feathery green leaves. On that you can see it grew some dark colored uh, lily. So now he feels Ruskin Bond. The mist affords a certain privacy. The mist maintains certain secret. We don't know what happens when it comes. There is a lot of change in nature. A schoolboy asked him to describe the hill station and valley in one sentence. Then Ruskin Bond said to him, "A paradise, a heaven that might have been." In one word, he explained, it might have been a heaven previously. Means it is as beautiful and pleasant like a heaven. And this is June 27th diary entry, in which Ruskin Bond writes mainly about the seasonal visitors that came along with the early monsoon rains. He starts his diary entry writing, "The rains have heralded the arrival of some seasonal visitors." Heralded means announced. The seasonal rains brought the news of what you call some seasonal visitors. Who are they? A leopard and several thousand leeches. Leopard, an animal from cat's family, leopard, and leeches. You can see in the picture down, leech is a blood-sucking worm-like creature. So with the early monsoons, once the monsoon rains have started, into the village there came thousands of leeches along with those rains, and even a leopard also. The day before afternoon, means on June 26th, a dog near the servants' quarter below the school in the village was lifted away by the tiger. The tiger took away a dog from the school servants' quarters. And the same evening, on 26th evening itself, the tiger even attacked one of Biju's cows. Biju is the name of a person. So he was having some cows, and the leopard attacked on one of those cows, but it fled, it ran away. When Biju's mother ran towards the tiger, screaming imprecations, means cursing, shouting loudly and cursing, scolding that tiger or leopard. When he came nearer, the tiger ran away. And Ruskin Bond also mentions in this entry, since these leeches, what I told, They are the blood-sucking animals. In fact, there is a practice of using these leeches even in medical treatments also. In olden days, doctors they used leeches to remove the bad blood from our body even. So thousands of leeches suddenly appeared in the village, and it is just impossible for anyone to escape from the attack of those leeches. So Ruskin Bond, talking about those leeches, says, I shall soon get used to a little bloodletting every day. Very soon I will also get used. For what? To give away a little amount of blood every day. To whom? To those leeches. And not only the leopard and leeches, but there also appeared in the village with the arrival of monsoon rains some birds called minivets, scarlet minivets, usually in orange or reddish color birds, and female ones they appear in yellow color. You can see in the picture, the middle picture, it is a minivet, scarlet minivet. So they came silently among the leaves of leaves like brilliant jewels. So when they land on the trees among the branches with their bright color bodies, they appear like jewels on trees, and no matter how bushy or the leafy or the trees, but they can clearly visible because of their bright color. They cannot conceal themselves, they cannot hide themselves because of their color, because trees and all they appear in green mainly, and these are bright orange color as you can see the picture. So they appear easily, but even then sometimes they behave very silently, that they contrive to go unnoticed. They plan, being so silent, they plan to escape the public notice. And along with those minivets, there came after a pair of drongos. Drongos are some birds. They are also singing birds, black color mainly, and with a what you call with a stout beak. They're very aggressive. They're very dominating, and they came after those minivets and unnecessarily chasing these little minivet birds. So, in the arrival of these minivet birds, the poet or the writer felt so happy to have their presence. But after those birds, there fell some other birds, drongos. How many? A pair, means two birds. Two drongos came after those minivets, and once they came, all the minivets they just flew away from the place. So this is all in the diary entry of June 27. What has he mentioned mainly? About the new arrivals with the monsoon rains. Who are those the new visitors? Leopard, thousands of leeches, some minivets birds, and drongos birds. And even he saw a tree creeper move so rapidly up to the trunk of the oak tree. Even some tree creeper, it is also a bird. Usually these tree creepers, they feed on insects. So during the rainy season we find many insects because they all come out of their holes underground because of the rainy waters. So with the rains, there is no dearth, there is no shortage of food for the insectivorous birds, means the birds which eat insects and live on those insects are called insectivorous birds. And with the arrival of monsoon rains, there appear so many insects on the plants, on the ground, and everywhere in the environment. So these birds, like tree creepers, they have plenty of food in this season to eat. And he saw even a tree creeper also, along with minnows and drongos, leeches, and all. August 2nd. All night it has been raining continuously, drumming on the corrugated tin roof, making the sound, the raindrops, as they fall on the rusted tin roof of the house in which Ruskin Bond was staying. There was no storm, there was no thunder, just continuous, regular, constant swish, the sound of raindrops you can hear now, of a tropical downpour. Means continuous heavy rain. It rained all through the night on August 2nd with a continuous downpour, heavy rain, making the weather unbearably hot due to the humidity. The sound of the rain was so interesting and melodious that Ruskin Bond would wish to lie awake. And at the same time, it's not a disturbing sound for anyone to sleep. Ruskin Bond says it helps him to lie awake. The sound of that rain, consistent rain throughout the night. It was a beautiful melody of nature. And at the same time, it's not at all a disturbance for him to sleep. It's a good sound to read by. Ruskin Bond feels that the swish, the continuous, the sound of raindrops on the tin roof was a good sound to read a book. The rain outside and inside the room, quiet within, a little silence. Though there were so many leaks in the room, but still a feeling of separation from the rain. Outside it was heavy rain with a consistent fall and a rhythmic sound, and inside it was so warm and comfortable without being touched by the rain, and yet the sound of the raindrops on the rooftop gives him a sense of being in the rain. By sound, he is in the rain, but actually he is not in the rain because he was under the room. He was inside the room. And August 3rd, the rain stopped. The clouds, they broke up, and the bright sun came up the hill. On his left, a woman was chopping up sticks, and he heard the tinkle of cowbells. And in the oak tree, he saw a crow shakes the raindrops from his feathers and caws disconsolately. Water drips from a leaking drain pipe, and suddenly, clean and pure, the song of the whistling thrush comes from somewhere in that depths of the ravine, the valley. It was so beautiful. After a heavy rain on August 2nd, it was a bright sunny morning with a lot of activity in the surroundings. Was a different, fresh feeling to Ruskin Bond. August 12th. It was raining endlessly, and there was a permanent mist fog everywhere on the hill station. It had been raining for 8 or 9 days continuously without stopping. People in the village hadn't seen the sun for all the 9 days. Everything in the village was damp, wet, and soggy, so muddy, soft, and full of water. No one could go anywhere. Just pace the room, walk to and fro within the room, or if wanted, you could look out of the window at a few bobbing umbrellas, the umbrellas that were being opened up and moving up and down as the uh, pedestrians walk ahead in the streets. They move up and down. And the good thing was, it was not a cold rain. It was not so cold. The weather was not cold. It was comfortable enough. And the hillside was totally covered with lush, total green as late monsoon flowers begin to appear. The flowers that appear in the late monsoon season, they also started flowering and blooming, making nature even more beautiful. Different kinds of flowers, wild balsam, you can see on the top, wild balsam and dahlias and begonias and ground orchids, different colors and different types of flowers started blooming in the late monsoon season. And next, August 31st, he writes in the diary, it is the last day of August, and the lush monsoon growth has reached its peak. Means whatever the plants and vegetation that has to appear by the end of that monsoon season all appeared, fully grown, a fully born nature. The seeds of the cobra lily are turning red now, signifying that the rains are coming to an end. The nature showing different symptoms to indicate that the rainy season is coming to an end. In a few days, the ferns will start turning yellow. The leafy plants, the bushy plants, they become yellow. But right now, they are still firm, green and upright, all the ferns. And ground orchids, you can see the white color flowers, ground orchids and mauve lady slipper, pink color flowers and the white butterfly orchids. They appear on the ground just like a fashion show on the grassy slopes of Lander. Lander is a small town near Mysore, about 30-35 kilometers. And wild dahlias and red, yellow, and magenta colors, and they grow their heads from the rocky crevices, the rocky surfaces. They have some creeks, no, in the middle. From there, they grow up. Uh, it's how the total vicinity of the surroundings were full of color and beauty of nature by the end of August, that is the ending time of rainy season. And because of these heavy rains of the monsoon, all kinds of creatures that usually live underground came out. Which are those creatures? Snakes and rodents. Rodents are rats and mice, rabbits, such creatures. They flooded out of their holes and burrows, and they took shelter in the roofs of the houses, attics and godowns, storerooms and godowns. A shrew means a chuchundar, which is called in Hindi chuchundar, a kind of mouse you can see in the picture, which was of due to its weak eyesight, it blunders about the rooms. Accidentally, it came into the rooms, and it roamed about inside the rooms, much to the amusement of the children. It was so entertaining for the children of the home, and they were running after that mouse, and their old grandma would tell them very seriously, "Don't kill it. Chuchundars are lucky. They bring money." That old lady shouted after him, "Children, don't kill that shrew. They are lucky. They bring money," she said. And just as she said, our writer Ruskin Bond received really a check in the mail that day. Not a very large amount, but still uh, he could receive with the same happiness that check. So what that grandmother said was right. They are lucky enough. They bring money. And then October 3rd, we have gone straight from monsoon into winter rain. Monsoon rain stopped, and continuously there picked up winter rains, and snow was at its higher altitudes, and after an evening hailstorm, the sky and hills are suffused with beautiful golden light. After when the rain stops in the when the rain stops in the evening, the sun appears as the clouds break up, the beautiful golden sunshine spreading all over the hills and the village. It was a beautiful and memorable scene uh, to anyone, not only to the author, but anyone. It is a beautiful scene to remember forever. January 26th, winter season. Winter reigns in the hills, in that hushed silence of the house. At this time, Ruskin Bond was all alone because his friend who was there with him had gone away somewhere. So it was very lonely. He felt very lonely in the room on that hill station in that winter rains, which was very quiet, and he used to sit in a liquid silence, means everything was silent except that sound of rainy water. A silence within, surrounded by the rhythm of rain, the steady drift of water on leaves, on lemons, on roof, drumming on drenched dahlias, flowers, making sound when the rain falls on the dahlias flowers and window panes, while the mist holds the house in a dark caress. The total fog in the area creates a dark atmosphere, and the trees, they are no longer green but gray, and they menace him with their loneliness. They also appear so dull in that winter rains. March 23rd, late March, at the end of the March, end of winter also. The blackest cloud he had ever seen appeared like as if it sat with its crossed legs over Missouri, and then it hailed marbles for half an hour. For half an hour, there was a hailstorm, nothing like a hailstorm to clear the sky. And once after that hailstorm, it was so clear when he was writing this diary entry, he could in fact see really outside a beautiful rainbow forming across the sky after a heavy hail storm. So that was all about the lesson, a short monsoon diary in which Ruskin Bond gives a vivid description of nature in its most beautiful form during the monsoon season and the changes that take place in nature as the seasons change from rain season to the winter season. It all he experienced when he stayed in a small town near Mysore. What is the name of the town? Lander. It was a hill station, so enjoying the beauty of nature, sometimes beautiful and cheerful, sometimes very dull and melancholy. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. We will meet again in the next session with another lesson. Thank you.